Massey University Agriculture Student of the Year, William Robertson, has had a massive 12 months, capped off with that award, something we should all be extremely proud of as a bright future leader of our sector. This time last year, William was about halfway through a 6-month stint studying at Shanghai University in China, something he says was an eye-opening experience, and the decision was something that was last minute. William is also the chair of the Massey University Young Farmers Club and served as an agricultural liaison officer on the Massey Horticulture Society. Our last guest, Michelle, will be proud of that. And William joins us now, I understand, from the Massey University Library. Ahead of your last exam, William, what is your last exam?
So my last exam is called Agri-Food Strategies, and it's basically about different strategies you take when sort of selling New Zealand products all over the world, say if you're going to enter South Asia versus South Africa. So yeah, really interesting paper.
Fantastic. I'm sure this last stint in Shanghai University in China would certainly see you absolutely ace this exam. Can you explain about your journey there and some of the eye-opening experiences you did have?
Yeah, so like you said in the little introduction, it was a bit of a last-minute decision. I was fortunate to travel a bit of Southeast Asia earlier in 2019. So very start of 2019, travelled around Vietnam, Thailand and Singapore, and that was the first time I'd ever seen anything close to what Asia's like, and it was a completely different experience and really got me that travel bug. And so basically came back from that, walked straight into the exchange office at Massey University and said, look, sir, how do I do one of these exchanges? I really want to go to this China. What do I have to do to fill out the paperwork? And yeah, so China was sort of the big one for me. I think I grew up on a dairy farm, so most of the dairy goes over to China, and you never really know what happens sort of once it leaves the port. You've got a good idea of what we do in New Zealand, but as long as it gets sold over in China, you're not really sure, and as long as the payouts are right, you're kind of happy. But sort of really wanted to know what happens on the other side of the supply chain and seeing what happens over there. So yeah, jumped on a plane, didn't speak a lick of Mandarin, so that was interesting. But yeah, sort of jumped in head first and tried to make the most of it as I could.
I'd really love to know, from the eyes of a young dairy farmer's son, what were some of those misconceptions that you had about the Chinese market, and what are the fundamental things they actually care about as a consumer?
Yeah. So the one thing that shocked me in the first day was Shanghai is high tech. Don't let anyone tell you that China's sort of this developing country that hasn't got the technology. There is a lot of disparity between sort of the regional rural areas, but there's also massive technology over there, and it's crazy to see some of the scale that they have in their top tier cities. So that was one sort of off the plane, seeing skyscraper after skyscraper was a big one. And then once you settle in and you start staying there for a couple of months, you shop at the supermarkets, you shop at the wet markets, you sort of speak to people, you start seeing that sort of the trends and what they value. And every time you say you're from New Zealand, dairy is sort of the first one that props up, which is pretty cool, pretty humbling. And it's always that clean green image. If they know where New Zealand is, or if they know of New Zealand, it's always that clean green image, happy cows, happy sheep running around, rolling hills, like high mountains. That's what they picture, which that's sort of what we're trying to sell down in a small little corner. So it's pretty nice to know that on ground over in China, they do recognize that and they really appreciate it. They love the story. So good bit of getting across. Did
it completely change for you what pathway you'd taken our industry after having that lens?
I wouldn't say it changed it. I'd say I didn't have much of a pathway to begin with. I was sort of playing it as I went. I was open to a lot of opportunities and was sort of trying to figure out where I wanted to go and what really spun my wheels. And head first, definitely said, look, this is where you want to go. This is what interests you. And So yeah, it sort of gave me a bit of clarity of what I want to get into and what makes me proud to be in the primary industries, which is really cool to be.
I mentioned there as in the introduction, Lincoln University and Massey University have been announcing a lot of job cuts, and we talk consistently on this industry about how we're going to attract talent like yourself, William, into this industry. Are our institutions and our pathways into the primary sector archaic, and what do we need to do to attract more, do you believe?
I think the big issue that comes down to it is that sort of challenge of getting information that's out there and getting it to the right people. For example, a business might have an amazing job opportunity that over the summer they're going to let you investigate your own research project into some sort of primary industry or some sort of challenge. But if you don't know about it, you'll never sort of get excited about it. You'll never get stuck into it. And there are these opportunities out there. We've got them galore in the primary industries, and some of them are really crazy and really interesting to be a part of. But I think it's that connection of distributing that information through universities, through channels such as this, where you say, this is what's out there. Jump in head first or have a go. Even if you're hesitant, just get involved. I think that's the way we'll go.
There's a bit of a theme that I set up at the start and throughout our guests tonight, that we are such quiet, humble achievers in this country, and with that, quiet communicators as well. How do we stand on the shoulders of the generations before us to ensure that the primary sector continues to flourish?
I think it's sort of just looking at the facts. I think facts don't lie, and when you look at them, they're pretty compelling. So when you see sort of some of our production figures of how many people we feed in a small country, or if you look at the environmental side, how efficient some of our production systems are when compared to other countries in the world, that's sort of one of the ways that you say, look, we're doing a bloody good job of what we're doing, and that's something to be proud of. And if you can sort of line up a lot of those facts and figures, no matter how humble you are, the facts don't lie, and sort of that the story tells itself once you get it all aligned.
And I'm sure coming home, taking out the Massey University Agricultural Student of the Year would be just an incredible way to end what for many around the world has been quite a shite one. How important is it to take out that award?
Yeah, the award was an awesome feeling, especially sort of how close-knit our school is, the School of Agriculture at Massey. You know all of your classmates, and you're always talking to each other about assignments or lectures or where they're from, or you get to know each other really well. So sort of being recognised by your peers is in the awards really humbling, but also knowing that there's a lot of other top-tier students that any day of the week they could get that award, and no one would bat an eyelid because there's such quality students. So yeah, I think that was the big one, sort of looking at my mates and being like, look, it was me today, but you guys, any of you, it could be tomorrow. So that's a pretty cool place to be in.
And we will all go out into the industry, head down, bum up, and with great integrity, quietly achieving as we do as Kiwis. Thank you so much, William Robertson, as I said, the Massey University Agricultural Student of the Year, and we have to let him get away to finish off the study for his last exam of his degree tomorrow. So he's hoping he'll pass with flying colours, I'm sure.
This is Sarah's Country.